Hello, this is Let's Talk Plateau, and we are here again. I'm together with Simon. We've been doing this together with him. Simon, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And of course, Honorable Sally Zwalman is here with us today. He's a youth advocate, good governance advocate, member representing Plateau South, Nigerian Youth Parliament. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, today we have a lot of interesting things to talk about, but basically we are focused on insecurity that have been enveloping our state for about 3 or even more than 3 decades, which has become a serious issue. And then today we just want to dissect the matter and then see where we can find a way forward. And that is why we're here today, and I have this wonderful guest with me. So quickly, Sally,
Yes. Thank you.
what can you say? What? Just give me a picture of what you think about the insecurity that we are facing on the plateau.
Well, thank you for having me once again. Insecurity is not something that is only happening here. I think it's a global phenomenon. Even in London, people are complaining that there are gangs moving around with knives, stabbing people here and there. So it's not a plateau thing. It's not, really something that only happens here. But what we've had here is that there's been an explosion of this crisis over the years. We've been battling with insecurity for about 2 decades now. And if you ask me, I'll tell you it all started in Plateau South. We had a problem before where a particular ethnic group was targeted in Plateau South. And after some time, complaints here and there, concerns here and there, noise, cries, mourning, those people decided to take up arms against those who they thought were their attackers or oppressors, as it were. And that ignited a lot of concerns across the globe. A lot of people said this was genocide, the president was mad. It led to another crisis in Jos, and then eventually the government was removed from office. There was a state of emergency. So, gradually, it moved from Plateau South, came to Plateau North, and now going to Plateau Central. So it's been a thing with us. And one of the concerns I've had over the years is the inability of government to address the root causes, as well as ensure that these things don't happen again. So, for instance, for Plateau South, well, we've settled that. Here in Plateau North, Jos is part of Plateau North. You have issues in Bassa, and this has been going on for years. Since the last administration, we had issues in Barkinladi, in Riom, even when Governor Jang was from this part of Plateau and all of that. So we've had this problem, and one thing I saw was the laxity of the federal government to handle the situation, the security situation, in the most appropriate manner. That is ensuring that those who carry out these criminal activities do not go unpunished. So, when you allow these people to have a reason for taking life and to justify it, you continue to embolden them. And so that's what is happening. Unfortunately, there has been some sort of, if you like, ethnic profiling of the persons responsible for this crisis. And most of the times we say, oh, they're gun-carrying Fulani men, they're marauding headers, and all whatnot. Now, if these are the people responsible for that, what have we done to check their activities, to check their movement? Of course, we know these people are itinerant movement people. They move around to do their business, feed their cattle and all of that. They settle in places for the purposes of ensuring that their livestock are protected and they grow. So how have we been able to follow these people, monitor them, ensure that those who we allow into our space are not the same persons who come in, kill our people in the dead of the night, and go back claiming they're legitimate business people? I don't think, in my opinion, there has been any serious attention to those who are actually causing this crisis. More so because in the last 8 years in Plateau State, government, and when I say government, I mean those from Plateau as well as government at the federal level, made it seem like it was some sort of a clash between herders and farmers. I mean, of course, there were situations like that, but it wasn't entirely the situation, it wasn't entirely the case. And every time there's an attack, unfortunately, we used to have a governor who comes, after expressing condolences and pain and surprise, they now tell you, oh, this is cattle headers conflict. And you'll be wondering, is it a crisis, cattle header crisis, when I'm sleeping in my house and then people come, run down an entire village, kill people, displace them in their thousands, take over the land? Is that what cattle headers clashes is about? So it's a situation of the more you see, the less you understand. And even when you try to make sense of the situation, you find out that there's just no sense in it, because government has a responsibility to the people. It's our patriotism to the state is based on the social contract. So forget the fact that I was born in Nigeria. Regardless of whether I'm born in Nigeria or not, I am human. And so at some point, the concept of the social contract applies to me as it applies to the state as well. So when government feels in actually carrying out this responsibility of protecting me, ensuring that my liberties are protected, my rights are protected, and that certain privileges are guaranteed. For instance, my life should not be threatened under any circumstance. The state should protect me. So when government fails to do that, when the state fails to protect people, the social contract automatically becomes nullified. So if government only understood that part, then we would take security of lives more seriously. We would ensure that people are not killed like animals, and that those who perpetrate these evil crimes are allowed to just go like that.
Very difficult question for many to answer. And what is that question? The question is, who are these perpetrators? Are they just normal headers that we know? Are they bandits? Are they terrorists? Who are they? What name exactly fits into this? This that we can say, okay, this is the name that fits in for this, that we should call this kind of people that are causing terror to the land.
This is an act of terrorism, and it is not just about killing people. It also involves ensuring that when we kill them, we displace them from these communities and we take over the land.
Okay.
You heard the governor say 64 communities are in the hands of only God knows who. And frankly speaking, I don't even know why he had to bring that on national TV. Because to an extent it shows that he has no control over the security of his own, of the state within his jurisdiction. So I just feel this is outright terrorism, and until we begin to look at
because if you remember, if they are terrorists, right?
Yeah.
We've seen cases, situations, not once, not twice, where a group of people will come and say, we have taken responsibility, we are the ones, and they're even giving conditions for peace. And then they're working freely.
Yeah. Well, I also saw something just recently after the Bassa issue. One Garba or Abdullah somewhere say it was leader coalition of Fulani people or something like that. Saying they were giving conditions and demands: dismantle Operation Safe Haven, dismantle Operation Rainbow, change a commander from one of those units in Bassa who is under Operation Safe Haven and all of that. And that's why it takes me back to the statement I made earlier. If government was serious, if government understood that its legitimacy is anchored on the social contract, and that your inability to fulfill your obligations in that social contract nullifies that contract, then government will take things like that seriously.
Yeah.
People like these are non-state actors. I cannot be president today or governor, and then there's a massacre of over 50 people, and then you wake up one morning and say, and if you want peace, you must dismantle this, you must dismantle that, you must move this officer. That, gentlemen, you have been hung a long time.
Would you say that the government has been handling this responsibly? Now, when I mean the government, even the government before now, because this is not something that just started yesterday or today. So, what's your general perspective? Has the government over the years actually handled this situation responsibly?
In my own opinion, I think they have been trying their best, because the last 8 years there have been some processes there are some institutions that have been established to look into what the root cause of all this thing and how they can mediate among warring parties. Now, for example, the Plateau Peace Building Agency. Now, these agencies were established so that as the security agencies handle the kinetic form of insecurity, this agency mediates. So if it is a crisis or if it's a conflict that can where parties can come up to discuss, bring out your own grievances, let's see where we can compromise and make peace. Those agencies are running it. Why the security forces are dealing with the main insecurity in the bush. But to me, I still feel there's more the government can do. I think there's more the government can do. So,
and just like he's saying, there's more the government can do. Plateau Peace Building Agency has tried its best. Every time there's a crisis, just like you stated, somebody comes, claims responsibility and tells you, oh, they killed a Fulani boy and that is why our people reacted. Oh, they killed cattle here, oh, how people reacted. Now, Peace Building Agency calls people from this community, okay, and we understand they killed your cow, we understand they killed your people, how do we make peace? This one asks for compensation, this one asks for compensation. We do that, write a report to the government, follows those recommendations, speaks to these people involved, gives them what is necessary, and expects that there's peace. Now, these same people in that same community, something happens tomorrow, another 50 are killed. As a response, because you are asking about, is government handling this responsibly? As a responsible government, are you going to continue to say, oh, okay, they were stating issues before now, and so, okay, let's go back to it? I mean, what was the point of having to sit down and discuss in the first place? It means that whoever breaches the peace from that point when we have done these discussions, whoever breaches the peace is now a criminal. So we just treat you as that.
But it takes me back. How do you know which this peace now? Because if something like this happens, this other faction we claim they are not the one. This other faction we claim they are not the one. How then do you actually? How do you determine who is the winning faction?
Good. So, first off, you've sat with these people. Initially, these persons took responsibility. You gave them what they wanted as a means of ensuring that we will not have a repeat of these atrocities again. Let us assume that you do not value human lives, and that is why you think if I kill a cow, you will kill an entire village. We agree that is who you are. Let us give you what you want in the assumption that you will be peaceful. Tomorrow, if your people come again, kill people in the village, dismantle the entire systems, the structure of government, whether institutions of government or whatever, kill people, burn down their houses, displace them. I'm not going to come and be discussing how we are going to discuss peace again. I'm just going to go after the people who are responsible. When I pick you up, we try you, you are prosecuted, you are sent to jail, that solves the issue. Because, you see, responsible government means that if you have a complaint, I am going to address it. If he has a complaint, if the farmer says, oh, you strayed into my land, you strayed into my farm, you destroyed my crops, which is my means of livelihood, and that's why I had to kill your cow, which is also your means of livelihood, and then you resorted to killing my entire village. And then, of course, maybe I also go to your village, we kill some people, and we come on the table, we discuss. Government is going to say, from the beginning, you did this. From the beginning, you did this. All right, don't do this again. Don't do this again. If there's a problem, come to me or report to security agencies, and we'll make sure we do our best to investigate and make sure whoever is responsible is brought to book. When you refuse to follow that procedure, that is part of the peace building system. When you refuse to follow it, it is not my job as government to continue to play to the garden. For my job as government at that point means I'm just going to deal with you ruthlessly and mercilessly as it comes. In fact, if you make the mistake of coming to identify to say, oh, some people's cows were killed, that is why in a community you've killed 50 people, including children. You massacre them with matches. Have you seen those pictures? Very gory sights. I'm not even going to wait to begin to hear, who did what. I'm going to pick you up first. We're going to first of all deal with you, because that's an act of terrorism, that's criminality. I don't want to know who is responsible.
The thing is this: when I asked Simon, over the years, what has the government really acted responsibly? Because a lot of questions will be that a lot of people are asking is, to what extent has their best solved the problem? Some will even see that their best is even making the problem worse, because we have had situations where even sitting governor cried, and said there are instances where if these people are arrested, the moment they get to Abuja, they will be released. The question, who gave that order for them to be released? Now, you see, is a big question, because we must understand that these people, it seems like there is a connection in the higher place that they have. It seems like they have a sponsor somewhere that, plays the drum for them and they dance. Don't you think that's a problem?
It's part of the problem, though. But I think it's high time, especially on the state level, government starts to actually make the people responsible for their own security. And by saying that, I mean these people should come together, like within communities, bring the security down to the people. Let the security of life and property, let it start from the people first. Let it start from the people first. Firstly, they will need to organize themselves. People need to organize. People need to know that before a security agency is coming to your aid, many lives might have gone. So people need to understand this. Secondly, people need to understand that community needs to come closer to each other. This thing that is happening in Plateau State is one of the signs that Plateau State has been governed woefully over the years. It's one of the signs. Now, if you go to Bokos local government, I stand to be corrected, but if you go to Bokos local government, the only third road in Bokos local government is the road that is leading you into the local government.
Interesting.
Yes, it's the only road that is leading you into the local government. I don't think they have any other third road in Bokos that is up to 20, 30, 50 kilometers in that local government. Same in Bassa. In fact, the road that is leading Jos to Bassa is very, as I'm speaking to you now, if you can't take your car and drive through that road, you have to come back and go to mechanic. That is to tell you what these rural dwellers are facing. Now, there are if even though these people are, like I've said earlier, they've come together to protect themselves. What about accessibility? Accessibility to these villages, to these rural communities. There needs to be infrastructural development in this state. They're cutting across each local government. You go to some local government. Have you been to some local government in this state? Go to Plateau South, Plateau South. There's no light, there's no electricity.
Well, I mean, you don't have to make it look like light is part of the problem.
No,
we
are talking about development. We are talking about infrastructural development. The reason why you see this attack happening, isolated happening, is because you will see people from rural areas, they are migrating to the urban center. People can no longer stay in their rural area. If there is development in their place, will they migrate down to this place? People are migrating, leaving their grandmas, the vulnerable children to attacks. If there is development, will people run and leave their
So are you
their
saying
local
that
government?
the migration is affecting the people that are in
Yes,
the village now?
yes. If for example, as in my own opinion, if for example I'm in a village and there are Hajai youths in those villages, we don't have a cause. We don't have cause to leave our vicinity to go and look for greener pasture somewhere. You see, when they are living, okay, as they are living, who are they leaving behind? They are leaving women, grandmas, children, and teenagers behind.
So are you implying that if they are to be in the village, that would have helped them?
It would have helped. Yeah, there would have been enough hands, enough youth to organize
So
themselves.
would that protect them from terror?
Yeah, it will reduce, because they can form a society on their own. They can form vigilante groups on their own to watch over their people.
But the weapons, the kind of weapons these people come with.
That's what I was
these
trying
attackers will
to
come
say.
with. I don't think there's any
They are
vigilante
sophisticated. The people
outfit
coming
that's
are
going to-
So my point now again is, do you think let's take for example just South now, do you think the level of development we have experienced in just South and just North, a Mauda headman, S-man rather, can come into the town city center and carry out attack and go without being apprehended? At least, even if they are not apprehended, there will be some level or form of resistance.
Don't forget,
There will be-
there was a jailbreak.
in the
So
city
that-
center.
yeah.
The police headquarters was there. The DSS headquarters is just
was there.
behind.
The-
You know, the prison service
They
has
did not,
its
those ones that came to carry out that operation, they did not come to sporadically kill people. They came for a mission.
Well,
It was a mission. It was a mission.
Jail.
No, yes.
In jail.
Yes, it was a mission.
For hours.
Yeah, they came for a mission.
You broke down the gates.
Yes.
Itself.
I'm going somewhere. This is a mission. Let's get this straight. It's a mission. Their mission is to go to the prison and release whoever they think they want to release. Oh, do you think those people can come periodically and just burn down the whole of what is it called, west of mine, kill people and they will go?
But for them to have done that, it shows how weak
Your security outfit is.
now
Now,
security is.
it also brings me to this point. I mean, while I understand his point that local vigilantes, having youths within these communities set up these platforms can enable them protect themselves. For me, I like to remove all those things like vigilante from this security question. The state is clear. The directive of state, the directive principles of state is clear on it. The federal government has absolute authority over security. So it controls the military, its deployments, its equipment, and all of that. Controls the police, controls every other security system or paramilitary organization you have in the country. Now, in our own case, in Bassa, in Mango, in Bokos, you have a very heavy presence of military officers or military institutions. Heavy presence. In Bokos, Houthi community was one of the communities attacked in December of 2023. And we cried, the whole world heard. They said, oh, let us deploy this one, deploy that one. Soldiers came. Mind you, there were soldiers in Bokos before that time. Because I know I've had an experience with them. The soldiers on that, there's this intersection. One road leads you to X land and then you continue down to Bokos. There's the heavy military presence there. Those guys are part of Operation Safe Havens. Operation Safe Haven. We used to call them bikers. I mean, I don't know what unit they represent, but those guys are very ruthless. And they were sent there because the idea was, we don't want to have anybody killing anybody again. Make sure, that's why they're using bikes. So even if you say that there are no tarred roads, you have bikes. Those are heavy machineries that can move in any terrain, as it were. What is going on? Why is it that you have the heavy military presence and yet the same communities are attacked? I don't understand. What are the soldiers doing there?
It is a sign.
It
It is a sign that the people need to take their security into their hands.
So why do you then make such deployments? Now let me tell you what happens. For me, I think, I may be wrong, but I think, or maybe this can be in the extreme anyway, but I think there's a systematic agenda against the people of the Middle Belt. You know, for us as a platoon, I think there's an agenda against us. The state, when I say the state now, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has failed us in more ways than I care to count as regards the issue of security. I don't know if it's, maybe we don't take it seriously, or that we say, oh, we excuse. There's no country in the world where security operatives are excused from
You said
blame.
that the federal government has failed us, and that also reminds me of a young man who came on social media and said the governor is not doing well, and even though a lot of people questioned his mannerism, a very dark man. A lot of people question his mannerism towards they feel, why would he insult the governor? you know, and all
to
that.
me,
A lot
I
of people
think-
felt he insulted the governor with the way he speak and all that, and he clearly said that the governor is not really, you know,
I think
taking
said
the bull
he's
by the horns.
disappointed.
He's
He wants a
disappointed.
shameless governor.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're talking about serious people, we're not talking about clowns. Listen, it's not just by carrying phone and then doing videos. I've tried to not bring in the governor into this, and the reason is because, look, I understand the limitations. The governor of Plateau State, I think, and I've asked questions and I know to an extent certain information in this regard, has done everything within his power to finance security agencies in the state.
I think he said it in one of his
Of course,
with
of
Trump.
course. There's a lot he has been pumping money for security operations. And the reason is because the Nigerian army has an operation Safe Haven, cutting across like 4 or 5 states here. It is not that the army has so much money that, mind you, we're fighting a war in the northeast, we have bandits in the northwest, the army is overstretched. So most times these governors have the responsibility for providing logistics, ensuring that, the little things that you can provide, maybe in a few billions, you give to these people, support them to make sure your environment and your state is safe. So the governor had banked on the power of the republic by investing in the security architecture of the republic. So why is it that the security architecture has failed us? The chief of army staff came here. Was that man not aware that the chief of army staff came, and rather than addressing these killings and telling his men, charging them to do what they were supposed to have done in the first place, he said, even if he brings the entire Nigerian army here, the crisis will not cease because it's a political problem. So how big, for instance, is Plateau State? How big is the Northeast? How big is the Northwest that we've not been able to leave this situation? It shows you that the state in itself has calculatedly ensured that these things do not work.
But Simon, a lot of people also believe that what the Darkman said is political. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree. As for me, I think I see Very Dark Man as a political individual from my point of view. But it's just the usual way he does things. Goes to social media, just rant on things that he knows nothing about. The last day he was ranting on this director, is he Commissioner Director General of NITCOM, that there are people somewhere that they are being trafficked. Meanwhile, he was ignorant to the fact that there's an agency called NAPTI, who is responsible for trafficking. So she was calling out an agency that is not responsible for. You see, he needs to take his due diligence before coming on social media. So I don't think it's political. It's just his normal way of going to social media.
I think the guy is ignorant.
So, and I feel that he got it wrong by coming to social media saying the governor did not investigate people that who told him the governor has not give directive. Now, the investigation of these cows, they need to be done. If somebody said, okay, my cows have been poisoned, so you expect the governor to sit and not intervene and say, okay, carry out an investigation. Let us know, is this act, does it actually happen in my state? Who are those that are involved? Sometimes these herders might be the one poisoning their cow just to get compensation from the government. It might happen. So these things need investigation to clearly find out who does what, when, and how. So I don't think let's just move on from him. He's just.
But honestly,
it's an important issue because it is also, within the lines of how do we solve this problem once and for all. So if cattle are poisoned in their numbers, it is only right. We're talking about responsible leadership earlier. It is only right that the governor says, these are the things that fuels crisis in my state. Who did this? When did it happen? How did it happen? Where did it happen? For me, I can't even verify that that thing happened in Plateau State. I have seen that kind of picture making the rounds in social media sometime last year. So it's important that the governor says, who did this? Because tomorrow, another group will wake up, go and kill people in another village and say, they are justified. Somebody killed their cows. And then you will come, the same very dark man will come and say, governor, you are stupid, governor, you are this, you have not saved your people, you have not protected them. Meanwhile, You are here telling the governor not to investigate things that could generate into crisis that will take lives.
But Honorable, now, if you are the governor, what will you do? Because the governor, on air said he is frustrated.
Right.
But not actually helpless anyway.
Yeah.
But he is frustrated.
Of course.
So
Anybody is
if you are in his shoes now, what will you do to tackle this situation?
Now, I respect Governor Caleb Mutfwang so much. I haven't seen, in a long time, we haven't had a leader who was so committed to people and was doing whatever he was doing to show that, look, I'm committed to working for Plateau. Now, if I was the governor, you see, let's tell ourselves the truth. I'm a young man on the Plateau. My future is also at stake here. Tomorrow I might be killed on the basis of some grievances somewhere by some persons because there hasn't been any commensurate action taken to provide justice to all persons involved. Now, if I was governor Caleb Mutfwang, the basis upon which it was easy for him to become governor was the insecurity that plagued the Lalonde's administration. Of course, and other things, but majorly why a lot of us fell out with the last administration was, look, you need to be more serious about it. So the governor, on assumption of office, should have made security priority, not by pumping monies into security agencies, because that's doing the same thing over and over again without any meaningful results.
And
I would have told
that's
his own
one
party.
of the definition of insanity, according to somebody.
Well, I don't think he's insane. It's the way the Nigerian state is structured, right? So, but I would have taken his own position and say, on assumption of office, we're going to make sure that in every local government we have at least 10,000 people, youth, who are given responsibilities to secure the environment. So what we call a sort of policing system or vigilante, if you like, or we could convert these vigilantes and hunters and all of that, make sure that everybody is responsible for his own
The
community.
state government have an outfit called Operation Rainbow.
Well, Operation Rainbow cannot secure the entire state. I'm talking about ensuring that security is sort of domiciled within a particular territory. So in Bassa, for instance, we're going to have 10,000 youths from Bassa who are Bassa indigenes, who understand the nooks and crannies of Bassa, who are going to be there wearing these uniforms representing the state, and of course they'll be armed. So we'll make sure that we have people from within these terrains, and so when you have them and you give them what
they will be armed.
That's what I wanted to say. They have to be armed. Of course, there is a regulation on the kind of arms you can give them, on the kind of weapons you can give them.
We have security outfits that are armed. When you go to South Africa, I'm
Amotekun is armed.
They are armed.
Even if
as much
it's
as
action
their hands, but they are armed.
You could give them.
It's something that can do wonders.
Why this crisis has persisted? Why some people
say something that can do one?
Yes, it's an action that
I'm
can do wonders.
imagining somebody who is carrying AK-47 and you're using something that you have to.
No,
it takes you 5 minutes.
No,
10
the
minutes
pump
to
action
load
does not take you 5 minutes. The good pump action. I'm talking about this kind of weapons you see with Boris, that the bullet is Boris or gunpowder. No, not that. Pump action rifles have bullets. So when you arm these men with these guns, they stand a better chance. Our problem is people come to a community, carried out operations of this nature for hours, and none of them, not one of them is injured, not one of them is arrested, not one of them is
Doesn't
killed.
it bother you?
And there's no trace.
I was asking, I think we were having a conversation with Simon when that thing happened, and I was like, when the Bassa incident happened, and I'm like, this thing just happened in Bokos. Now it's happening in Bassa. Where did these people come from? How do they move? Who are they? Is it? And I was telling him, when we were discussing, I said, look, I think these people are spirits. It is either they are using juju because look, you cannot go and kill 50 people in a village and you tell me you didn't come, your number is not up to 50. So they must have been up to 50.
Perhaps that is why some security experts are suggesting that we should employ technology to safeguard our nation.
When you employ technology, who is going to respond? I just told you, in Bokos, Houthi community has been attacked twice in 1 year.
So imagine
let's
there
say
are drones.
in 1 year, 6
There
months.
are drones that can track them.
The bullet. Who will respond in Bokos? Who will respond in parts of Bassa where that thing is happening?
There's a system that will have to be in place for that to take
To
place,
work.
of course. But there's something you said when I asked you a question. So from all you said, I realized you talked about the localization of the security networks across
Yeah.
the local government. So Simon, if you are the governor, what would you do? He talks about localization of the security networks. What about you?
I would do same line, but I will do same, and I'll also incentivize these people, because as I speak to you now, I don't know. I stand to be corrected. I don't think there are any local vigilante, maybe hunters or volunteers that the Plateau State government are directly paying stipends just to motivate them. This thing goes a long way. You don't do things repeatedly and get different results. The same Nigerian security architecture that the government have been pumping. I mean, government of the Plateau State have been pumping money to take support. They have not been able to live up to their expectation. So let's shift our attention. Let's even shift. We are not saying the government should not give support, but can you divide this support? Can you minimize the support and shift a little bit and say, let me try this. Let me try this. Okay, let me recruit, as you have said, let me recruit maybe 1,000. We have 17 local governments. Let's recruit 1,000. Although, like in just South here, we don't have these issues because it's a capital, it's a center of this city center. But people that are living, there are people that are vulnerable inside. There are places that, in fact, if you want to go there, it's bike. You cannot use car. So how do we protect these people? How do we? Okay, let's choose 1,000 people. Okay, let's train them. No, you are not saying you should give them sophisticated training, intelligence gathering, first responders. This little thing. Okay, if it's happening in this village, how do you communicate with the next village? There's something like this. You can distribute walkie-talkie. These gadgets, this little gadget for communication. Oh, we have been attacking this community. You community, please be careful, rise up and watch your borders. Watch out for people that are passing through. It will go along. Localize this thing. Buy gadgets for communities. Walkie-talkie. How much is walkie-talkie? Buy these little tools, distribute it to these people, incentivize them, pay them. If it is 10,000, pay them. It doesn't stop them. Yeah, it doesn't stop them from doing their main job. It doesn't stop them from going to their farm. It doesn't stop them. It just keeps them motivated and make sure that they are doing the job. Their information that they are gathering. That is one step. The second step, I think we should start thinking of is infrastructural development. I'm still saying that it helps a lot, because if I'm going to go for a restaurant call and the road is not accessible, how do I navigate my way through? The road, there's no road connection. We need to try to look at road infrastructure that should connect a local government to another local government. Road 50-60 kilometers of road. It's not 2 kilometers, it's not 1 kilometer. That is not road. 1 kilometer just is barely 2 communities you are joining together. We need to do serious road infrastructure. All these things they help a lot.
While we're rounding up, one thing that I think is very key, which I want to just briefly hear your opinion, is that don't you think that one of the major causes of this, not just in Plateau but in Nigeria as a whole, is the lack of people facing the consequences of their action?
I think that's it. This persists because there is no consequence. It persists because there is no consequence. And the consequence I'm talking about is not just arresting the perpetrators, prosecuting them, or even killing them.
Exactly.
When you have a military installation in a local government, a military installation, I think we have so gotten used to seeing the military around that we have failed to understand the level of sophisticated training the Federal Republic invests in this individual, the levels of weaponry we give them, how much it costs us to keep them on that. So when something happens and nobody is punished on their end, no officer is called to book, the commander of Operation Safe Haven is not relieved of his duties for failure to carry out a simple task of ensuring that attacks do not happen in. We're not talking about the whole of Plateau State. We're talking about some particular local governments. Recurring event, recurring situation, the same MO.
Strategy.
They come in, burn down an entire village, kill almost everybody they see inside. And no military officer is dismissed, nobody is punished, no commissioner is dismissed. Nah. You, of course, even if you say they are Fulanis or they are this, you catch 100 of them and they go and do it again and you allow that man to retain his job, sir, you are just emboldening, you are emboldening them to continue doing it. So I think, and I said this earlier, this Federal Republic of Nigeria has systematically engineered this thing against our people. Because you cannot tell me that your political conversations, your political considerations rather, is more important than the lives of people. If a general fails to carry out a particular responsibility, your job is to make sure he's not there. And somebody comes in and is given the task to say, gentlemen, do this job, given a timeline. If you cannot do it, we'll take you out, we'll bring in the next man. You begin to see action. You begin to see things happen.
Why I had to even say that?
I still want to say that this is for Plateau people. Like, let's see an injury to one as injury to all. Let's not
Definitely
say, oh, it happened in my place. Nobody came and rescued me. We rescued ourselves. This like it. There are things each local government in Plateau State, each tribes have their strengths and weaknesses. Oh, if you have identified the strength here, can you borrow relief from these people? Can you come? Can we bring you in? Can we bring you in? If this is your strength, can you come? Can we help us protect our borders? Because our borders need to be protected. Because it's through these borders that these people come through. These borders needs to be protected. In fact, government needs I think infrastructural development. As for me, I can even place it above any other intervention the government can do.
I agree with you.
Because I said it that these places that have been attacked, they are the most vulnerable places in Plateau State. These people, they cannot come and there are places they know they cannot even go and attack because they will not be successful. And Plateau State is the 12th largest state in Nigeria.
But if the perspective that you're coming from, you're saying that if there is a development in these villages, these attacks won't come.
The thing is, these attacks happen because there's a lot of ungoverned spaces in the state. Now, how do you make sure that these ungoverned spaces are not left ungoverned? How do you make sure that these ungoverned spaces are not left uninhabited? We are Plateau State.
Sure, as a matter of fact, let's even look at it from the other side, from the perpetrators. Because most of this, there has been cases whereby, it has been said, even the governor said it, and of course some security experts, whereby most of these perpetrators are even foreigners. But you see, they can't carry out their operation successfully without, having some sort of handshake with the locals, with people around and all that. So I see that if, for instance, these people are well educated, people that, these foreign invaders cooperate with are well educated. As you said, infrastructure, if they are well educated, I think, why should I go and kill someone for 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 100,000?
We are talking about our own people here. Because the education of these marauders that you are talking about is not in the hands of our own government. And you understand? So, we are talking about what we can do as a government in Plateau State to make sure that these ungoverned spaces are occupied. At least, if not, people might not be living there, but activity should be going on there. We can open farms. Those places can become farms. Those places can become farm settlements for people to go. You can go there, spend 1 week. When you come back to the town, your farm, you can be making You can when these attacks are emboldened, these attackers are emboldened because they know that these places are after they carry out the attack, there are free places that they can go to. The place is free, ungoverned spaces. There are other parts they can just move.
And nobody
follows them. Nobody intercepts them. These ungoverned spaces need to be occupied. Farmland should be. People should go and farm. Let's open farm settlements for people to go. Let people farm.
It's even looking like these criminal elements now know more about our lands than we do. You know, because the system tells you, by the system I mean authorities and institutions, they tell you we don't know where they are going or where they came from. But these people already have routes. They have designated certain routes. Oh, by the time we attack this community, we're going to follow this place as our exit. Exactly. We already know where we're going.
They have studied the terrain.
So they even know the terrain more than we do. And yet we've had the military presence on Plateau for more than 10 years.
At the end, they will tell you it's communal clash.
It's communal clash.
It's communal clash.
So the narrative keep changing.
It's either farmer clash.
The narrative keep changing.
Communal clash, either farmer clash.
Either it is
Clearly
communal clash, either it is religious, and then so on and so forth.
I mind people. Let's have this. People say there are farmers who poison their crops and then from cattle
dies.
If I use insecticide on my wheat and you bring your livestock to come and eat, is it my responsibility?
You're already a criminal for bringing your livestock to eat on my farm.
Is it my responsibility?
You know.
So you allow your livestock to feed on my hard-earned sweat, my hard-earned struggle.
My source of livelihood.
It's my source of livelihood. Thank you. And then you tell me I don't have rights.
I will poison them I will continue to poison them for as long as I can, because since the state is now supporting you, go and be eating up people's crops, we will still give you. Me, I'll just be poisoning them. By the time you are done, you don't have any cattle, so you stop coming here.
But while we are winding down, a lot of people have lost hope in the protection that government can give them. And the only option now they are left with is to defend themselves. And in the process of defending themselves,
things like this
could come up.
Right.
And then when judgment like this come up, it raises a lot of concern across borders. And I think I still believe that Nigeria will be better. We're getting there. And just to round it up, what's your last thought, Simon?
Well, my is that as far as Plateau State is concerned, please, people should not take information for granted, because most of these attacks, sometimes before these attackers come, they are already information, like maybe a little rumor that something might happen. People should take information seriously, and people should learn to live. Communities should learn to harmonize themselves. You see some community, because the security have failed, that's what I'm saying. You see some community here, maybe just 50 people that are living in this village. When you have to walk another long meters, you see another community, maybe other 40 people are living. So people should come together. Maybe people should come together. The more we are coming together, the more we occupy a lot of space, and the more we can defend ourselves and actually say what's happening. So information is very important. People should not take information for granted.
Your last thought, Honorable? Well, I think I'll add barrister to your...
This would get me in trouble. Well, for me, you see, this insecurity is around the state. Earlier I told you, at least in the southern zone, we're better off. We don't have as loud attacks as this going on in the central and northern zones. But there are still isolated killings in Plateau South, in parts of Wasi and other parts of...
I think I heard one even recently in Shandam, where he went to his farm, was attacked.
So there are still those issues brewing up everywhere. So for me, the governor should understand that doing the same thing again and again does not give you, and that does not give you results, is not wisdom. Stop sponsoring the lifestyle of the army and the police here. Begin to seriously pump funding into internal security. by ensuring that you are empowering your own people to take responsibility for that security. And that could mean anything. It could mean arming the communities, it could mean creating institutions or empowering institutions like the Operation Rainbow, or expanding their scope, adding more people to the ranks, or setting up an entire different structure, bringing everybody from their communities to be part of the security of that community. So you have to shift. You are giving billions of naira annually to these outfits and they're doing nothing. This is 2 years in office and yet there's a lot of bloodshed. So for me, pump all of that money, all of it, even if it's not enough. Let's start from somewhere. We could start from Basa, we could start from Bokos, we could start from Mango. Pump these monies into setting up an outfit for yourself, fund them, arm them, protect these communities. And this, see, once you have people, it's just about the paraphernalia of coercion. So if they know that there are people with guns in this country, they will not come, because there's a likelihood they might also die. So when you have the propensity for violence on both sides, you will have peace. You know.
Thank you very much.
So
Thank you very much. Well, this is Let's Talk Plateau, and of course, we'll have to wrap it up here. While we wish the government well, we will also continue to hold the government accountable, because as a government, your constitutional duty, one of your constitutional duty is to protect lives and properties. So God bless Plateau, God bless Nigeria, and I say goodbye.